Arson is one of the most underreported crimes in America. Hundreds die as criminals go free, and the cost of insurance premiums skyrockets. As part of our year-long National Scripts investigation, Lauren Gilger digs into how thousands of suspicious fires are going undetected right here in the Valley.
And also how the Phoenix Fire Department is taking unprecedented steps to put those responsible behind bars.
Hundreds of arson fires across the valley.
It hangs with you like a cloud.
Destructive and deadly.
It's never finished.
Firefighter Brett Tarver was 40 years old when he gave his life battling a massive fire at a Phoenix supermarket.
He ran out of air.
The fire was classified as undetermined. It wasn't until an anonymous tip years later that authorities determined it was arson. In fact, most building fires are classified as undetermined, some accidental, and very few arson. Our investigation found more than twice as many suspicious fires than the number of arsons reported nationally to the federal government. These are crimes going unpunished and costing you money. In a 5-year period, we found more than 160,000 suspicious fires not ruled and investigated as arson, almost 800 deaths not investigated as murder, and an estimated $5.8 billion in property loss paid out by insurance companies that may include fraud. One issue, the rules themselves. Arson investigators follow a national set of guidelines to determine the cause of a fire, even if their gut tells them something else.
We knew that it was an intentionally set fire.
Phoenix Captain Gary Hernandez decided to become an arson investigator after Tarver's death.
Knowing that someone intentionally set a fire that led to the death of a colleague, and it kind of drove me to that direction.
He joined a unit that represents the gold standard in arson investigations. They are sent to the police academy and train as criminal investigators. They write warrants and make arrests.
Their training goes on and on.
Those standards went into effect when Fire Marshal Jack Ballantyne took over the unit 6 years ago.
It's a flip-flop between fire and the criminal side. And we're always merging those two so that they continue to get better and more proficient at what they're doing.
While the numbers are improving under Ballantyne, Phoenix only reported 393 fires as arson in a 5-year period. The ABC 15 investigators worked with Realty Track, a mortgage monitoring firm, to determine the number of suspicious fires that occurred in foreclosed homes. Add in fires that happened in vacant buildings and multiple fires that happened in the same building, sometimes even on the same day, and the numbers were higher. Our investigation found during the same 5-year period in Phoenix an additional 2,039 suspicious fires that were not ruled as arson.
If you cannot eliminate all other causes, you have to call it undetermined.
That's because they're bound by national guidelines, regardless of their suspicions.
Half of those undetermineds are most likely arson.
Our findings are more in line with what many experts think the arson rate should be, including the National Head Fire Marshal, Bill Degnan.
I think that's grossly underreported.
According to Degnan, one of the reasons arson is underreported, both here and nationwide, is fire departments don't update their data once the cause is found. The second reason?
They would rather put down undetermined versus calling it and have somebody come in later and say that they were wrong.
Degnan warns underreporting arson means policymakers are not allocating enough money and manpower to fight the problem. But for Ballantyne, the standard for conviction can never be too high.
There's nothing more precious than our freedom. And if we are taking somebody's freedom away from them, we better be ready to stand up to that.
The National Association of State Fire Marshals has been studying the problem and just released a report today citing the findings of our Scripps national investigation and calling for significant reforms. We'll bring you those details as the story unfolds. I'm investigator Lauren Gilger, ABC 15 News.
And ever wonder how investigators can determine a fire to be arson? It's not easy, but there are some specific signs to look for.
Yeah, we have those for you on ABC15.com, along with all the details from our National Scripts investigation. Looking at arson in 9 cities, it's under News and click on Investigations.